Thank you very much. So we are at the Westfield Monument now. They'll be reading their statement here. As you can see, there are so many people who are gathered here. They continue saying they want justice. As you can hear Mahdi's voice on top of the stage. So that is the, of course, slogan here. The Westfield Monument to sign Dunda Konotole fa pareda. Ale Mahdi Jobate Kangomaile, Mia Lonko, Akakele, of course, Adamadingol la Nyanto la Kola Gambia Banko Kanjang. Bemfoka Wale Mindiko, Sula Justice la Labor Wale Foka. Dunda Westfield Monument Otola. The world to sign it. After demanding a bela statement or Italy, a formula, Muyesija. Parangamero Dolge, Syringan, Bacanale, Purne Kacha. Mero in Embara, Cordande. Eve care fadule life, Cordande. Alve care fadule. Itodu Mune Safono Mole, Mune Sijambi. Sorry, ñil be mu victime sol le wala na laftan ne kaja aha ya janga jamano wala ni ci Gambia ja pada pada akije yalla mo mo ni solo sambe par kamara dogen jaay manga pada mara jawara alhamdulillah rabbil alamin amul jana to ñaka ko ñaka na to ñaka na mo mo tan yesu mo jawo ñanya be janya kama so man ko kula la fatiya are ba ko din tan wato si tawlota ye kelo ka fasaro ala ajiya fa ni sakal na mo to mo ni perna ara ba alhamdulillah rabbil alamin ko na ta kana ko ba ko ni wato wato san tan ka ba ko tan ka ba ko tol yayi ba ko ni kene ala tan ko tan di tajira on dara tan ko be kala ko ara ba ra tan ko ni na ko mo saru nga ma jo kene nga ko na ko na ala ni o siara nga ko du ala fana ala ma be ala ni islam na sa ko ni be ba ko ni kene le am bodi tajira on ko ba ko kene le ara ba ro pour ana bara kam fa salati ga halike bi tiro be kullu mo mo be so no be badal ko a jara ronde a bala fatti afta ko to amma fala dari be amal la salata tan kele ga ko wuli tabi kama o maso de ko akede ko yo mota yesu na tiempo no ka ko aka ko ngam ala kala maso dala ko la mo kendala ni ko ka ni wala abul wala na gisto dola ka mo na to nyaati ka mo na ko ya ko de sa na alfana ya barka ko kerpa ambal kontonna ambal jela albe to nyaami ka yo do to nyaano ma alkana jekke no moy al yo da to nyaano ala to nyaano ki ala to nyaano ba de banko ka banko be dia banko ala ma bula sa
Thank you for this opportunity that we could come together as real people. We thank you that you are the hands of God and you are the God of justice. This morning our hearts cry unto you for every life lost, for every body that has been harmed, for every woman that has
membara e ba faka nyele non yete kema fale isa la banda se kami fono isa fono e ba faka nyele non ko ye kema fale janni abe kundula afonye be min fokan no
ma ya jamila tay mo lo yamuta kabri yamuta atara je bayana ya bale ya yamula so ni ko so ade bari bira na da ko ade la dola ade dola ato muro nyama do ba so bari dan ko lo de bana da dan ko lo ko ma so ata mo kabir ma so ata mo do do ni batal mo kabir wo tay mo ko be ana kabir de ma ko bada ma kabir da si dola ko do ko alhamdulillah ko da ka ro do do ngana ko ko je ena ko bolta barhan kabir man ke jo ko na do ko lo sande be damen ti do kay do ma ko ro ni na ala kay ko da yo ma ko ko do damen la ko ko ba do ati jo so no ngara dawda e dum ko ngara dawda e dum ko ya badu ko ko be dira ko da ko la ba do la na ba ba do la ko da ko dira fa do la ba do la wandi mo di wonde na ba ko be be janja mala be kana da ha Allah taala man so mi yalla ka fa Allah taala man fa bonde kan kayro ko ni na du baya
ela nomba fo mo jamal be jibe kan ela nomba fo mo jamal be jibe kan abe nomba bondi kan ala kalbe kono le ngamra ma kram bari aba okay isla yendam okay ani sayen ka mol hakilo blandi be protest dulale ko ali aji nyame e kana statement o read le ala nomba be findila ñaata demande baytan dila mola mero min diam to sainte ngaka man la dula fango soto sainte tingi be dame bayri ngata fanam kita molti mi alon ka kema ko ya jam tu mi ko atela fanu ala nomba mu 2426074 wala mala nomba 2426074 2426074 wala mala number abarga ba ke mero thank you very much ngalla moy police ban na ngana murona ay baro nim police ban banda ngana Alright, thank you very much. Walem police banti no ba katala le ning dolu victim dol mi alon ko lebi jam pour gaje ko ni tol fana kacha narrator dum dana mune si jambi victim ñaade okay so bi elafta munella mi si jam dole baramari dole fata dole belari e banju den ha arsini ma dole badi dole bije mena ko fundi yo ni momuda awu fundida kado arama man del fundi Allah taala man so ani gambe dimul da bedeya ani la do ko yeni yola kado ni be wol men fundida kada lo sirol ka jam se kanyon ni alfal men be funda be do kada lo sirol ka ni wuda no le yebla ka ko bari mo jude ay gambia be fundida kada lo ni be do do pour ka lon tan kula de gambe de gambe de koroti gambe de ne ko me mo de ka bula ko do ni ku me ka do nyama yedi de bula de na nyan do ko nyande ku ma yala ko ko do me nyanda ko bare mo ma nyande ni ma jamu polti jamu dan ye polti ko mi na ko le me mo ka ye do rata yo no le ko no do na ye gambe to do ye banko dema ko kola ni na do le me ni le me ni me be ni di bo to la bari de mo gambe de ulto le ni be da ida mo le nyanto dila ida ko to lo polti ko ida be ni le pando to la ka mo be ni lo ko yar ida ni dia ko lo abada le mo be tan le mo be tan le bata nek même ma fonte batata ko fani yalla batata kabel ndu tan ko ko nan ndi tema ndel ma fuudi de me ala ko besi der ko tan sabo ko ni daga bi mo le men kete ni biara ci kala janna banta jamo yele kato beke ye bandi an tafas wala man foje folo ni ko be ni be ko ala batu fo adu ministre ye to du ministre do kala be lorin telde na ko nya yadinna nyagen na rajano kanaja na to nya le mandi na to nya di tan inde fana mbara na me ko kan nyan bar mo bi jando men yana ko kuranta ibrahim mul ko ni hane ke samba kada ko bare jar amanki jamo ni mo na dia ko na la ko na MPPB sini sama yide sama tuba ye di barma ni passeport la ye moto di la ide ta nganyal men be kurandi men yalla ko ye de sindi man sayal ndalle asin nin dal man ta ka sura de sindi wala nin dal mun na mo ngobata ne o toro yena na ilatal do nyina wala nin fana wo kay me na ko justice ni na ko ngaso wala mun na ko mo dal mo duguna so yente mu da ngayet mo ci le ka sola et mo ci dan kardan e kay tuldan e kardan ta yembula yamo kar saba ala le mbondi anin gambe dingul la baro ni do ko wala nde funti non de funti la yamo ala le mbondi anin gambe dingul do ko meki gambe dingul torara di batata ntabe yentale muda di mansino mai lay mam fefenge di bani ajo ro di be bay lay be torandira e dunya ko be kela bari ko hani ko yaade tele funti ko do be gambe dingul tan lembe jeyla na pulol men be bulu men gara solo sande nyol ye fundi ni yedi la molla de te baade bay tata ko bon la je.
Thank you very much. You're still watching Kerfado. We're going to, it's like they're coming to read their statement, and then I believe the chairman will be reading the statement, that is Srifa Kijera. Let's see whether we can get that. Sorry. Excuse me.
Hello? Hello?
I will try and see if I can get upstairs. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, all. Once again, you have demonstrated that the unity that we are all calling for to come together as Gambians to march for never again. I will read this statement on behalf of the victims community. Under the 22 years rule of Yahya Jammeh, reports of human rights violations and abuse were rife and characterized in the form of killings, enforced disappearances, sexual violence, arbitrary arrest and detention, indiscriminate and illegal use of force, acts of torture, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment, among others, meted out on Gambians and non-Gambians. Under his rule, the enjoyment and exercise of rights and freedom, including freedom of expression, association, and assembly, were curtailed and crushed. Many ordinary citizens, members of civil society, including journalists, as well as government officials, were abducted, arrested illegally, detained, and imprisoned. Intimidation was used to suppress dissent and preserve the president's grip on power. Other human rights violations concerns including corruption and embezzlement of public funds, land or property expropriation, forced labor, witch hunting, and fake treatment.
resulted to some deaths and other complications among peoples living with HIV/AIDS. We appreciate the support of the international community and recognize the steps taken by the government in addressing these violations through the setting up of transitional justice process, such as the Truth, Reconciliation, Reparations Commission and the Governance Reforms Agenda. However, the victims' community are concerned with the continuous delay in the submission of the final TRRC report and recommendations. In addition, the victims' community highly welcome the participation of civil society organizations under the leadership of Tango for coming up with a roadmap to ensure the timely implementation and monitoring of the TRRC recommendations by government. The purpose of this march is mainly to show solidarity with victims of human rights violations, to support and empathize with their desire for truth, justice, reparations, and reconciliations for the violations committed from July 1994 to January 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, the Victim Center, on behalf of the victims, is demanding the following: the TRRC final report and recommendations to be submitted to the President as soon as possible. Accountability for all those who bear the greatest responsibility for human rights violations committed during Jammeh's 22-year dictatorship. The government to set up an independent body responsible for the review of TRRC reparations guidelines and regulations in order to adequately provide reparations to victims. The government to work closely with victims-led associations to establish a national monument to remember and honor victims of human rights violations. And five, not the least, but the fifth one, the government to issue a public apology to enhance reconciliation and healing. In conclusion, we would like to recognize the effort of all civil society organizations under the dynamic leadership of Tango and individuals who contributed and participated in this important event to show solidarity with the victims, to ensure that the Never Again slogan becomes a national philosophy to consolidate democracy, respect for the rule of law, and good governance. Never again to impunity. I say never again to impunity, never again to dictatorship, never again to self-perpetuating rule, never again to human rights abuses and violations. Ladies and gentlemen, Gambia has decided for never again. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Sheriff, for those words. And indeed, never again, Gambia has decided. And I just want to elaborate a little bit more on the reason why we are here today, which is this march. Sheriff mentioned it. Civil society, under the leadership of Tango, had set up a roadmap in June of this year. And the idea was that for preparation for July, when the TRRC report was supposed to be submitted. And this was going to be one of the first activities on that roadmap. The roadmap includes the involvement of civil society taking its rightful place in the transitional justice process in the Gambia, our involvement in preparation for the white paper, and working closely with government on other stakeholders to make sure that the transitional justice process proceeds smoothly and the TRRC recommendations are implemented accordingly. And the second part would be in working with government and all the stakeholders in implementing the TRRC recommendations once they have been submitted and the white paper comes out. And the last pillar of that roadmap is working with all the stakeholders to monitor because after implementation you have to monitor and make sure that what's being said to be done has been done. So that is the roadmap that is being worked on, and this is the kickoff event of that roadmap. So we thank you all for coming together and standing with civil society, standing in solidarity with the victims. Next, I have a victim, Madam Fatima.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, ngal be konton ka victinol be nimbara na niku yakang badin sewo ta fana min yanon ko koy finti tan fenna solidarity majna ka bo tango mi yanon ko wala en sembentu ya kana victinol kan kata organisation min ko wave aniken and Solo Sanden Foundation wala wultani na tango en sembentuya mol be dun tankan ka fon aleko ala baraka parce que na ko nun ten to nga fa no mbadi wala finti tankan pour kan sembentuya bal mi mun nanin ta mo daliloti wala mu never again parce que ko min kada ni sate kon ko min kata dimita bake di fenfe yalo ko kata majam ikata me balol be boririm musobe ngoma ko ne ko ngapolu minu ja ko nyaka mun nam fele ko mi ko na manke ku sotori ngot malla fi wala soto jang ko take bari be mobe konton na ka ko 15 cental kiyama no sirf kijera kanama we flaw nyaton ko Priscilla ya bu sise silam dawum fango dingo anin tangola molu mbelu mi bebe lorin fe mba fulale ko ala baraka but nanyu so gano mi anon ko mba fo kanta ko never again akana ti ko ti mi yalon ko ka betalan dalle to asika puti mi yalon ko ke wala mu ano kana so ni sate ko no jang potake akana so to anu janni ba fola mo le kale muru nyokan justice for law. We need justice. Never again. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Mr. Chernoge, who will give us some spoken word. Cherno.
Good morning. I think we're still in the morning. So this poem is called Watata. Watata is full of for never again, yeah? And here we go. As we gather together in the name of all the lives lost and destroyed in the name of one man, I am reminded of the steps we didn't take, the words we didn't say when we should have, maybe we could have, and perhaps God would have, like He is right now with us as we stand in the name of all the men killed, too many women, too much blood in our hands as we stand undefeated by the guns that speak the language of death, the whips that demand obedience without question, and the prisons built to break our spines and inspire the fear of the devil in us. But we will not submit because we speak the language of God, and like Moses, we demand that the system lets our people go. Solo Sandeng, Deda Hydra, Chief Mane, Haruna Jame, and all the unnamed names that speak tragedy into our ears. We demand for their rights and the rights of their families. We demand for their dignity and the dignity of their families. We demand for justice. 22 years of tears and blood and 5 years of a failing transition. We are sick and tired of the broken promises, and I know that your priorities are up, so let me clarify this for you. The correct sequence is victims first before vote. I'm speaking to the leadership of this nation. For this nation, we the people have decided, and we are saying never again to dictatorship. So cement your commitment, because history doesn't repeat itself. It teaches lessons to those willing to learn, and we have learned that it took all of us to free ourselves from the clutches of a dictator, and it will take all of us to defend and protect that freedom. And we have learned that tyranny is an illegitimate child born out of the unwillingness of a people to stand up and fight for themselves. And we have learned that political power is a tool for nation building, but when placed in the wrong hands, it becomes a WND, a weapon of national destruction. And we have learned that our rights, like our lives, are entitlements that we must find to defend every single day, and we have learned that this country is one big living organism with us, the people, as its vital organ. So whatever happens to any single one of us happens to all of us. So today is for the brave men and women who laid down their lives for our freedom, so that someone like me can recite a poem like this. Today is for the innocent lives cut short, and the families left with broken hearts, empty graves, unanswered questions, and the frustration of having to wait for so long before they can demand for justice. Today, we declare our solidarity with them. Today, we pledge our allegiance and our resolve to stand with them and stand for ourselves in this battle, for justice in this battle, for freedom in this battle, for democracy, and in this battle for non-reoccurrence. We say never again. Mune Dufi Musa, Amati Mbimon mi wat tata. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very powerful words and very apt. Next we have our Blink. Welcome on stage.
Yeah, it's really great to be here, and kontaan naa torop. You know, I was just telling my friend here, that's even enough. We want the same thing. That's enough. This crowd is really amazing. We are saying never again. Lu fi amoon before bugatul mu am fi. Ñun doomi réew mi leen te ñun rek ñoo mëna fight lii. We're doing this for Gambia. We're doing this for us. I'm doing this for my unborn child. Yeah, DJ. I say never again. Yeah, I say never again. The music video is out, so let them at YouTube. You can tap our Blink never again. Everybody, never again. When you tell the why, say when you're drinking one, I say never again. When you're used, I say campaign machines, I say never again. When you tell the why, say when you're drinking one, I say never again. When you're abuse, I say never. You got the cases left you, I'm the victim center me. Moving that's to would let violence and better me. Not to jiggle, let's take no one door. Never take on when we are in reparations. Never, ever, you never put number one. Good, you drink and you do so that what? Soon I'm in book and you let your father white. That's the proper regular you tell. Not to jiggle, the office, you let you sexually harass. Look at some class now, that's the question you got. Not to jiggle, I feel send on you disappear. Now, was an alert and you when you're not from the regular watch. Let's share our stories, then you have no time. Put some dog, you elect. Like when you do that, let's fight today and tomorrow. Then you're like, everybody. When you tell the why, say, look, you get one. I say, never again. When you're like, yo, okay, I say, never again. When you tell the why, say, look, you get one. I say, never again. Never again. Protect every woman. That's the union doctor take that for years, man. Sexual harassment for many, I'm a deadline. About to work with the for days of nonsense guidelines. You need knowledge again, but we are less represented. Single now, then you take, we wanna be independent. I mean, yeah, I'm better. Don't you know what we're listening to? When you tell the why, say the new jacket one. I say never again. I said campaign machines, we say never again. When you tell the why, say the new jacket one. I say never again. Never again. Now everybody, I'm a daughter later girl, I'm a daughter later. Yes, I see somebody, Chico. I'm a daughter later girl, I'm a daughter later. Yes, I see somebody, I'm a daughter later girl, I'm a daughter later. Yes, I see somebody, Chico. I'm a daughter later girl, I'm a daughter later. I say never again. When you tell the why, say when you get one. I say never again. Yeah. I say never again.
little bit around here. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, a very, very apt song, Never Again, and today is the day that we are standing in solidarity to say never again in this country. No matter what, we will be standing there. Next we have our able chairman, Mr. John Charles Nyai. John?
Before I give my statement, allow me to call on my brother to do a rendition. We will overcome. We will overcome. We will overcome today. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe that we will overcome today. We say never again. We say never again. We say never again today. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe that it will never be again. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe that it will never be again. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies. Hello. Allow me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to first and foremost acknowledge the team that put all this together, led by the Secretariat of Tango, under the dynamic leadership of Mrs. Ndai Bakurin, and the entire team, Sira and others that have put all efforts here. Let me also acknowledge two brothers that I will say have kept my hands up in this leadership. First and foremost is Mr. Madi Jobate, that keeps us awake and always ready and alert and always on our guard to ensure we play our role. But also equally so my advisor, legal advisor, my confidant and my editor-in-chief, Mr. Salutal, President of the Gambia Bar Association, for ever so being willing to support what we do. Thank you very much. And also to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, that have weathered the heat to be here with us. Fellow Gambians and friends of the Gambia, we are elated and humbled to gather here this morning as one people under one banner, declaring that never again must we suffer the affliction meted out unto us during 22 years of misrule, tyranny, engineered by a son of this soil, enabled by a system set in motion. Through our collective resolve, we the people rose up, made a valued decision and voted out the perpetrator-in-chief in the hope that the system set in motion will be uprooted and replaced by one with the interests of the citizenry at its driving force. But alas, that dream is yet to be realized. But let me be quick to add that all hope is not lost. We have decided before. We can always decide again. Barely years ago, a truth-seeking process, the TRRC, was initiated by the executive arm of government and passed into law by the legislative arm. The TRRC is close to the completion of its task after several extensions. More than ever, it is critical to ensure that the overarching goals of establishing the truth healing of this country and the reparations for victims is achieved. It is our patriotic duty to support and accompany this process to its logical conclusion. As a country, we must ensure that never again is not a mere slogan. At this point, it is apt to acknowledge the hard work and sacrifice of the entire TRRC team. Thank you for your service to nation. We salute and honor you for this great service. As we patiently await the final report, be assured that we are with you and we understand the challenges and constraints that confront you. We believe in your integrity and commitment to deliver a report worthy of commendation. As civil society, we decided in May this year to design a roadmap highlighting how we plan to engage with all stakeholders to make certain that this process does not face an untimely death. This solidarity march, therefore, is an integral part of our rules of engagement in reigniting public awareness and support for the truth, reconciliation, and reparations process. The purpose of this march is threefold. One, to stand with and in solidarity with victims of human rights violations and their family members. To remind our government of their sacred obligation to ensure that the baby born of the TRRC is not aborted, but nurtured to full maturity. For us as a people of this great nation to first acknowledge that gross human rights violations have been meted out upon our fellow human beings. But not only that, but more importantly, to commit ourselves to never again allow this on the soil of the Smiling Coast. To you, the victims of 22 years of brutality, we the people deem it part of the responsibility of citizens to empathize with our sisters and brothers whose rights were grossly violated right before us. But first, we want to extend our heartfelt apology for not speaking out and acting sooner. Indeed, we have no excuse. We could have done better. So please, find it in your hearts to forgive Motherland Gambia and her children for abandoning you during your most trying moments. In repentance, we gather to pledge to you that never again will we let you bear your pain or to suffer alone. We come to stand with you and by you. We gather to bring comfort and hope that together better days are ahead for all of us. We are here to say, never again will we remain silent concerning your plight. We have also come to say to you, well done, Jambarnien. In spite of all that you've been through, you are stronger today than ever before. Remain united, stay strong, be bold and courageous, keep focus, because one day soon, this storm will blow over. To our government, to whom we address as excellencies, honorables, lordships, and worships, execute your duties in a manner consistent with your titles. Serve us, the people, the reason you occupy your high offices, with integrity and respect in the preservation of our humanity and dignity. Decide and commit that never again will you allow your offices to be used to serve personal interest above that of the nation. Commit to the rule of law and respect for human rights as those who voted you into office and for whose taxes support your survival. To the executive, Mr. President, and your cabinet, you initiated this whole process. Please demonstrate leadership, for by your actions or inactions, we the people will surely judge you. Recommit yourselves and government to guarantee that the work of the TRRC is not in vain. In response to Tango's letter submitting the post-TRRC roadmap, and in your letter dated on the 10th of August 2021, you stated, while anticipating an enhanced partnership with Tango, His Excellency wishes to allay all fears, whether genuine or perceived, and to assure all that the government is firmly committed to the TRRC and to the whole transitional justice process. This is assuring, but it will be more reassuring if your actions are consistent with your writings. So we humbly submit that we expect to see swift, transparent, and just implementation of the recommendations that will be submitted by the TRRC. It would be helpful to include in the draft estimates for our budget of 2022 funds for reparations for victims and their families. It will not hurt to cut from other budget lines and prioritize this. It will be unfortunate if you, the political class, sacrifice the welfare of victims on the altar of political expediency. To our National Assembly members, hold the executive accountable in ensuring support for this process. Ask the difficult questions. Summon, if you have to, those found wanting for not protecting the integrity of the process. Serve the interests of your people. For us, the people, after hearing all the horrific experiences of our fellow human beings, beyond the denial and many questions as per the authenticity of the testimonies, let us shoulder the responsibility and accept that this dark episode is indeed an integral part of our national reality. But we have sailed through the storm and are more resolved today to ensure that never again becomes our reality. Fellow Gambians, we must go back to our Gambianness. The reason why we have been known as the Smiling Coast, to the good old days when sutura for our neighbor who was unable to give depans was the order of the day. Back to the days when the children of your neighbor were brought to order by the neighborhood and by the community. Back to the days when the spirit of Gambianness united us under this great banner of our nation. Our hospitality, our warmth, our openness to non-nationals were key features in our DNA. We must go back to our true Gambian identity. We today invite perpetrators to join us on this journey. For indeed, today you can say, never again will I be used to harm my fellow human being. Here today and now, we must invoke the never again spirit from the walls of the TRRC to take up residency in our hearts and in our minds. May we today receive the never again vaccine into our veins to be part of our national DNA. Let us dedicate our energies to collectively say never again will we allow a drop of innocent blood to be shed on our soil. Never again will we condone self-perpetrating rule that gives birth to dictatorship. Never again will we allow our daughters, sisters and mothers to be raped and dehumanized. Never again will we allow our brothers and children to perpetrate evil against one another. With this, I call you all in this space and nationwide and all over the world to say never again to impunity, never again to injustice, never again to the violations of our rights. For we the people hold the power. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I salute you all.
Thank you very much. Indeed, we hold the power and we say never again. Thank you very much. I have a couple of announcements. And the first one is that those holding the banners, before you leave, please put them on the stage. And we will be reusing them, recycle, right? Environmentalists, Madam Day, recycle and reuse. But then again, also, I just want to make it clear that this march was funded by the civil society and individuals. We did not have any funding partners. People came together and put in their money where their mouths are. And so, yes, we want to recycle. So thank you very much. Please put the placards here before you leave. The Victim Center will be collecting again. The other announcement is that we have a signing book and a never again signing banner that is going around to have people signing, standing in solidarity. This will be framed and put at Tango as one of the memories and one of the documentation of this event. So put your name down for history, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And next we have the entertainment. Where's Mariama? Killer Ace, we have Killer Ace with us in the house. Killer Ace is just getting off the car and will be joining us shortly. After Killer Ace, we will be having our press conference, the press and questions, and then we can shut the bar. Our time of 12 o'clock. Unfortunately, we will and we will have a brief pause and wait for Mr. Killer Ace, aka
All right, thank you very much. So, you're still watching Kerfado. As I mentioned earlier, Killer Ace will be on stage very soon. So, but we'll also bring you the press conference just after this entertainment. The Victim Center will be holding a press conference just after this, where they'll be taking questions from journalists who are on the ground here. So I think that will be very interesting. You can still stay tuned. Killer Ace will entertain, and later we'll bring you the press conference that they will be holding here at the Monument Center. So Killer Ace is here. arigol natal benjibe kandong ala long ko an sign me peaceful march me along ko ba ka of course kabo post office kada for Westfield youth monument de be wolto sign den ga kila esle badu me along ko jale ngaralem abe denkelo lala o kola be press conference o kelale me along ko nin kiba talal be kacala be kek sonolu nyinin kala lay dul fana be jabiro kala podo la me along ko kiba talal be la fla wolle sele andela natara kila esbe no jang natara nata ay den meno ke be press conference o fana natila len Molsi stick around wrong the press conference of Natilal.
I just want to recognize and appreciate our brothers and sisters in the diaspora who were very much instrumental in making this happen with their support, their moral support and their financial support. So thank you very much. They're not here, but we always feel their presence, and they have never left the victims behind, standing in solidarity. We also want to recognize and thank our partners. I cannot list and name them all. So thank you very much all the organizations, all the CSOs, all the stakeholders that have been standing with us for this event. And thank you.
Yes, Kila is here.
Assalamu alaikum, Gambia, Lahasiko. So they you know what I campaign for change system be. Parce que never again, Malamoneka never again. Dafa fake Kuneka as a brother, as a friend. Why you mean Suneke I enemy Kondumus achieve never again. When born and Loho you put to fake and then Boga achieve Loho again. Never again. Come on, bro, let's blend and blend. I know so much this crazy. Come on, I wanna be another of your friends. Lahasiko. Now you know how we do this, right? I'm a victim, you a victim, she a victim. Hands in the air, everybody. Rejected by the system. We all victims one way or another. Hands in the air. Let's go peace for all the ones that lost their souls. I'm a victim. Rejected by the system, I'm a victim. Rejected by the system, I'm a victim. Then what they gonna do, I'm a victim. Guaranteed I'll be a cause, I'm a victim. Rejected by the system. Rejected by the system, I'm a victim. Then what they gonna do, I'm a victim. Guaranteed I'll be a cause. It's supposed to be a transitional justice, but in this transition I still can't see no justice. Still feeling hopeless deep down, I'm so disgusted. 2 years gone, nothing has been discovered. I was promised trooper witnesses of disappearing. Despite my trauma, I don't see no sense of caring. Though I smile deep down, it really hurts. They promised to protect victims and they got me first. They don't seem to recognize my violations. They know me it's a process whilst I'm dying waiting. I see former perpetrators being reinstated. Truth seeking is hard when the truth is being cleared. Justice denied every day, it's delayed. If you were a victim, then you know what I'm saying. I was a victim of systematic abuse. How we wanna reconcile when we don't even know the truth. I'm a victim, neglected by the system. I'm a victim, rejected by the system. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Everybody on the count of 3, I wanna hear. I'm a victim. 1, 2, 3. Neglected by the system. Rejected by the system. Then what they gonna do my dollar? Guaranteed now me a karma. I'm a victim. Neglected by the system. Rejected by the system. Then what they gonna do my dollar? Guaranteed now me a karma. It's supposed to be a transitional justice, but in this transition, I still don't see no justice. 4 years gone, nothing has been discovered. I was promised truth, witnesses are disappearing. Despite my trauma, I don't see no sense of caring. Yo, I tried, but deep down it really hurts. They promised to put victims and their dignity first, but they don't seem to recognize my violations. I see former perpetrators being reinstated. Truth seeking is hard when the truth is being played with. Justice denied, every day it's delaying. If you're a victim, then you know what I'm saying. I am a victim of systematic abuse. How we gonna reconcile when we don't even know the truth? I'm a victim, neglected by the system, rejected by the system. Then what we gonna do, my dollar? I'm a victim of rape, torture, brutality. Health-wise, I'm internally dying gradually. I am a victim of the corrupt judicial system. They seized my rights and then threw me into prison. I am a victim, so my dream homeland just cease. Time a dollar, foolish law, so my case be. I am an April 10, 11 victim still seeking help to pay the cost of needing medical treatment. I am a victim from the previous regime. I disappeared, murdered, body never to be seen. I'm a victim. Neglected by the system, I'm a victim. Rejected by the system. I'm a victim. Guarantee now I'm
Yes, that was Killer Ace.
Now you have to listen to our director. Hello.
Thank you very much, Killer Ace. He never disappoints, always standing for the victims, as a victim and as a Gambian. We are coming close to the end of the event. So the next section is the press conference, where we'll be on stage here to answer any questions from the press. Before we depart, I would like to remind you once again that the sign-in banner, please put your name down for history. I think it's somewhere down over there, where you can sign in your name, and if you're representing your organization, it should be there as well. And we have a signing book as well. And again, the banners, I think we have most of them. So please, before you leave, we would like the banners back. I think we have a few over there before we leave. So we would like to also thank the police band who were here, and the security, the IGP, for his partnership in this event. They have been with us from the beginning, as well as the Red Cross who has been here, helping with the mask, helping with the water, and they're still standing here with us until the end. Thank you very much. I believe the next event is the press conference. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are ready, where we have John is here, who else? Security is here, to answer any questions from the press. Thank you very much. Yes, we have a question. We are waiting for your question to the press.
Hello?
We have somebody assist with passing the mic. You have a microphone. You have a question? Yes, this one, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Please, the press, please introduce your name and introduce your organization, which after you represent. Thank you.
Dynako Online News, my name is Mr. Pierre, coming in as right now.
Thank you.
So my question is just to, what's your take on the size that has come to show solidarity? Is this sufficient enough to show solidarity to the victims?
I'll go first. For me, even having two people here is something. And we appreciate everybody coming out. We would have loved to have the entire Gambia here, but that's not possible. So yes, we are quite satisfied with the turnout. And we know that those who are not here with us in person are with us in spirit.
I think we would want to say that there are many people who have sent support one way or the other that are not able to be here, especially so our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We thank them sincerely for standing with us. So it's not the numbers really. What we wanted is to make a statement and also to let the country realize that we are in a process that we should not forget.
Yes, we want you all to know. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Borisha Bloga, and I am the leader of Nawanko newspaper. My question is decided before, and they have the power to decide again. So how should you think that victims get justice? Because now everybody is expecting that unity is the government in waiting. So recently we have seen a perpetrator in the person of Lamin Babandi Dobate, unity welcoming them in their party. And so everybody is expecting that unity is going to be the next government. So how soon will victims get their justice?
All right, I think we have to move away from talking about party politics. That's not why we are here. What we have said is Gambians have an opportunity come December to choose whoever they want. So whoever wins, we owe it to them to support them and move the country forward. So we are not interested really in who wins. We just want to ensure that justice is done. And how soon that will be, it will be determined by how much we as a people are resolved to not just sit back, but to engage with the entire process. So it's not us sitting back and leaving it to a few people to do. All of us must engage. And that is why civil society has been proactive enough to come with this roadmap. We don't want this process to fail, and we will not allow it to fail. So,
the mic.
The government for not saying for the TRC.
Put the mic closer.
Well, what we got saw from the press release by the TRRC is that they need more time. So we have to go by the press statement by the TRRC. The commissioner saying that they need more time. That is the public statement that they gave, and made us we are going by and supporting them.
I think what is important here, to allow the TRRC to do a good job. We are not in a hurry just to have a report submitted to the President. We need justice to be done to the report that is going to be presented to the TRRC, to the President. So we are not in a hurry. We will allow the TRRC to write a very comprehensive and a good report and refine a report and recommendation to the President.
Thank you.
Where's the mic? Got the mic?
My question is with regard my question is with regards to the TRRC report. What is the role of civil society holding the TRRC commission accountable? They have suspended they are pretty much postponed the submission without giving a date. The CSO have a role and a responsibility to demand that the TRRC gives a specific time. Because currently, they have pretty much thrown the whole process into, there is no stability with the process. Nobody knows where we're going. What is the role of civil society in holding the commission accountable? To tell us a date. Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. We have been, the leadership of civil society has been to the TRRC to understand what the challenges are, and that's why we have said in our statement that we understand their challenges and their constraints. And we want to respect that. And also, I don't think it is fair to force them to give a date, because if they miss that deadline, none of us would like that to happen. So let us allow them to do their work. We are assured and we have been reassured that they are working hard and the report will come. And as Mr. Kijaya has said, a victim and the president of the victims, and we talked about a victim-centered TRRC. So if the victims themselves are saying, let us be patient and wait for a good report to come out, let us please respect that and hold the hands of the TRRC to ensure that a good report is presented.
Yes, absolutely. Justice doesn't come overnight. Justice is not a one-day process or a one-year process or one-decade process. We have seen other countries which have gone through processes before and have gone through tribunal justice processes. That's why it's called a process. with partnership and collaboration, working together, anything is possible. It is normal, I think, that people would be there are differences. And what is important is that we work out those differences as a nation and move forward. And we believe that civil society is taking their rightful place in making sure that no matter what the differences are, we will work it out as a nation and we'll come to a conclusion that will be bring about a better Gambia for development today and a Gambia with social justice today.
I said, what next for the CS of the victim center?
Well, we cannot preempt that. The recommendations, the product recommendations are yet to be submitted, right? So we are not even talking about implementation at this point. So we don't want to preempt anything. But what we want to ensure is that when we say never again, we mean never again. And we'll do whatever it takes.
Thank you.
I think we're right on time. Just on time. It's 12 o'clock and that's the time we've been given by the authorities. So we want to say thank you for everybody present here in person and in spirit. Thank you for braving the sun and the Gele coming here. The drivers that brought them here and everybody that came, the Red Cross, the police band. We want to say thank you to everybody, our sign language partner, Mr. Fofana, and yes, thank you very much and have a good and safe journey back home. Yes. And still the banners and the placards, please, if you still have them, please bring them to the stage and be safe going back home.
Alright, thank you very much, guys. That's all we have for you today. That was the peaceful march from Post Office to the Westfield Monument. So we thank you very much for trusting Kerfado, but definitely we'll